Hi everybody, welcome to our third and final video on Yellowstone National Park. And we have truly saved, I think, the best for last.
Could be. This is really a good one.
Yes, it is. We take you to Old Faithful and Grand Prismatic, down to Lake Yellowstone. It is just gorgeous. And we are so excited, but sad to be leaving Yellowstone. But we're so glad that you're checking in with us to watch.
We are glad to have you coming along. We are the Redhead and the Preacher, full-time RVers from Dallas, Texas. And we're going to take you on our third phase of our time in Yellowstone Park. And if you'd like to be notified of future videos, be sure and subscribe and then hit that bell. And that way you'll receive notifications. So we're going to show you the pretty places in Yellowstone. Let's get going.
So we were staying in West Yellowstone. We drove over to Madison and then dropped down south from Madison to the Lower Geyser Basin, on down to Midway Geyser Basin. Lots of geysers in Yellowstone, of course, and we stopped at all of these wonderful places. Then down to Old Faithful, and then around to West Thumb. We went through the Continental Divide here to West Thumb, and then over to Yellowstone Lake. And that was our ending for that day.
That was a beautiful day, by the way.
Oh my goodness. I think we saved the best to last.
We may have.
And our first stop was Firestone Hole. Beautiful falls that were coming down.
And the sound here is what's so spectacular. The view is great, but love the sound.
And then we arrived at Fountain Paint Pots. This place was really surprising. A smaller area for geysers and mud pots and all of these wonderful things.
Yeah, the boardwalks, I know I always point the boardwalks out, but they're so nice and convenient for anybody can get around there and see this.
Yes, and this was a nice little geyser that was erupting while we were there. I didn't film it all, but it lasted for a long time. So you can see as we kind of pan around here how many little geysers, hot springs, and everything there were in this area. And here's a steam vent. I hope you can hear the steam coming out of here. So hot.
Yeah, once again, the sound is part of this view right here.
And this mud pot kind of reminds me of Halloween, doesn't it, Bruce?
Yeah, boiling mud is what it
Ooh,
is.
Gooey. And just
it has its
so
own sound.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we come around to this beauty. Oh my goodness, isn't this beautiful?
It is. The blue here is just well, it's blue. And it's what all blue ought to be compared to.
I know. What did you say it looked like around the edge, Bruce?
Well, it looked like mushrooms around the edge to me.
I know. The colors are just amazing, and every color of the rainbow here are just so beautiful. And then we arrive at Grand Prismatic. Grand Prismatic is Yellowstone's largest hot springs, and it is just huge. We crossed over this river on a little wooden bridge. You can see the hot steam coming down and hot water from here. And we traveled up on a boardwalk about a half a mile to Grand Prismatic, past this beautiful place here.
A beautiful walk up there. I mean, just to walk up there in the morning like that on a cool morning.
And see that steam, and here it is.
And the colors right here in this view are incredible. 370
feet across and 121 feet deep. It is huge. But look at the colors here and that crust that has formed here on the surface. It's just one of the all-time favorites of everyone visiting Yellowstone.
Well, it's called grand for a purpose, isn't it?
That's right, dear. It is. And it's beautiful in every area. It's just worth the walk up there. And then in the distance, the mountains and the are just beautiful. What wonderful surroundings. And then we arrive at Old Faithful. It's 32 miles from West Yellowstone. It's going to take over 45 minutes to an hour to get there.
And we were one of many people, but we arrived at a really good time.
It erupts about 20 times a day, every 44 minutes to 2 hours. So you need to check online, so you don't have to wait too long. It was discovered in 1870 by the Washburn exhibit. It is one of nearly 500 geysers and only one of 6 that the park rangers can predict pretty accurately. And Old Faithful can vary in height from 100 to 180 feet. And the eruptions normally last 1.5 to 5 minutes. I think ours definitely lasted 5 minutes.
It was great.
Cut it down a lot. But the scientists estimate that the amount of water that ranges from 3,700 gallons to 840 gallons that comes out of this thing during an eruption. The water temperature is 204 degrees Fahrenheit, and the steam measures above 350 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, just something you just don't get tired looking at.
The travelers, when they first came here and found this, they would throw their dirty clothes up on the vent.
Mm-hmm. And after the eruption was over, they had clean clothes.
Yeah, how funny is that? And Old Faithful Inn was built during the winter of 1903 to 1904, and it's one of the few remaining log hotels in the United States.
But it was closed.
It was closed,
yeah.
Unfortunately. I came here in 1962, which I told you on a previous video, as a high school graduation gift. Came here on Greyhound bus with my mother, stayed here, and I just loved it. It is gorgeous. So you do have to come in and see the Old Faithful Inn. And then we went down to Kepler Falls.
Kepler Cascades, actually.
Oh, yes, Kepler Cascades.
And the sound again is just marvelous. We finally arrived at the Continental Divide, and of course it's a drainage divide, but this one is very interesting. The eastern drainage curves to the west and goes to the Pacific Ocean, and the western drainage curves to the east and goes to the Gulf of Mexico.
How strange is that? And then we drove on farther south to West Thumb, and from Old Faithful, West Thumb
Look at that green.
is 19.5 miles.
It's as green as the blue was blue that I talked about earlier.
Yeah. And in 1871, I'm going to tell you something in a minute, though, after we look at some of these beautiful pictures here. The colors here are just gorgeous. It's another nice boardwalk. This is a place that not as many people go to, so you won't find it as crowded. It is right on Yellowstone Lake, which to me is absolutely beautiful. And here's what I wanted to show you. See some of those steam vents and little geyser holes that are out there in the lake? In 1871, they found out, the fishermen, they would drop their line right down inside of that cone, fishing cone, and when they would pull the line up, the fish was cooked.
Yeah, they caught the fish first, dropped it in, pulled it up, and ready to eat.
So that was a popular thing for all the people to do during that time period, and they were finding it very useful. And what a pretty picture this is with that backdrop of the lake.
Mm-hmm,
oh my goodness, and the mountains. It is just absolutely breathtaking. It also makes me kind of sad. This might be our last trip that we will go to Yellowstone. We've been there how many times, Bruce? About 4 times?
Yep.
And it's gorgeous.
We love it.
Everyone should go and visit to Yellowstone.
Nothing like it in the world.
That's right. And this is the Lake Yellowstone Hotel. It was closed because of the pandemic, of course, but it has always been bright yellow. And it was the first lodge in the park, not Old Faithful.
Right.
It is the oldest. And I stayed here also in the park, and I thought I was living in high luxury with white tablecloths and uniformed waiters. It was absolutely beautiful back in 1962 and still is. Didn't you just love that? It was just so exciting for us. We had so much fun. And maybe this is our last trip to Yellowstone. We don't know.
But, you know, maybe it's not. We love Yellowstone, and we love getting there.
It's kind of sad for us to be leaving, but we thoroughly enjoy it. And thank you so much for following along and coming with us.
We are glad to have had you along and shared a little bit of excitement that we had in taking this. And we just hope you'll subscribe and hit that bell. And again, that way you'll be notified of future videos. God bless each and every one of you. And remember, may God bless America.